There isn't a day that he's not part of my reality. And who I am in the world and how I interact and how I live my life and how I serve God is so informed by his teachings. I grew up in an Orthodox home. I grew up living a life of observance. I grew up learning. I grew up seeking and searching and knowing that there had to be a direct path to God. That wasn't what I was taught, but I knew that it was there. And that's what the Ba'al Shem Tov gave us, and that's what it gave me. And I want to say gives me. Knowing that I have access to the king or queen. Telling me what I need to do to get there and how I can get there. Telling me that no matter where I am in my life, no matter who I am, I have access. There's a gift of being seen that he offers us, each one of us as an individual. And especially in our world, the feelings of alienation, of loneliness, of isolation are so great. But the Ba'al Shem Tov teaches us that we're all the children of a king and queen. And we all have a home. And again, I know I create these comparisons many times, but I say that Reb Shlomo, what he gave me was he gave me the key to the back door. Guests, they use the front door. Guests need to knock. Guests need to call and ask, when can I show up? And if they're more intimate friends, then they don't need to necessarily make an appointment to see you, but nonetheless, they'll knock on the door. Family and those close, intimate friends, they use the back door. They use the side door. They don't need the front door. And the Ba'al Shem Tov, by moving, for example, the notion of dvekut, of cleaving to God, to the beginning of the journey, not the end of the journey, right, gives each and every one of us access to the divine. And I'm not saying that there isn't a difference between dvekut that comes in the beginning of the journey and dvekut that comes at the end of the journey. It's like a second innocence. Yes, there is progression in the work. But knowing that we're all connected and we all have accessibility to the presence of the divine. And knowing that no matter where we are, that we can connect to God. And any action that we do, if we bring God into it, that consciousness elevates any action, any activity, any conversation. So that's what the Ba'al Shem Tov gives me.
Great.
A way to talk with people, a way to be with people, a way to be with God, a way to pray, a way to trust myself and believe in myself, a way to trust and believe other people. Because even if they let me down, or even if I let myself down, or if I let them down, I still feel that there is a way in which I'm connected to God. And that there is nothing that can disrupt that connection. And the teaching of the Ba'al Shem Tov, they brought this into the world. I know that if I was a woman living in the time of the Ba'al Shem Tov, I would have no access to him. I know that if I was a woman living in the time of the Ba'al Shem Tov and his successors, in order to be a woman who actually had a voice in leadership of spirit, would depend on whether I was the daughter of, the wife of, the sister of, or the mother of. And if I was none of those, then it would be a tricky reality. And that's a kind way of putting it. And those who are versed in the story of the Maiden of Ludmir know that she was a Rebbe in her own right and did not come from the lineage of, and was forced by Rav Motele of Chernobyl to marry her shamus. It was not a good marriage, as we would say, and we know that she ended her life destitute, alone in Yerushalayim. And her fault was that she wasn't the daughter of, the sister of, the mother of, because we have plethora of stories of those kinds of women receiving kvitlach from Hasidim and teaching. It's told that when when Reb Dov Ber didn't understand what Reb Shneur Zalman was teaching, he'd ask his sister Frida. There are wonderful stories about the Tzanzer Rebbe's daughter Frida also, that she would receive kvitlach. Everyone knows Fege, Rebbe Nachman's mother, right? So the Belzer Rebbe's daughter, and the stories of her greatness. So if you were the daughter of, the mother of, the sister of, the wife of. Nonetheless, I don't think that anyone has the right to claim ownership over the teachings. No one can take the Ba'al Shem Tov away from me. No one can. No one can take his teachings away from me. And possibly, actually, what history has given us is given us complete and equal accessibility. And I think there's a challenge in being able and willing to let go of history and live in the present. And to be able to say, well, if I couldn't have access to him personally, then I can't learn from him. How can you not learn from him? And how can you let anyone take away his teachings from you? And I don't think it's a gender question. The question can be asked about anyone who doesn't observe halacha the way the Ba'al Shem Tov or the Hasidim observe halacha. We could ask the same question. I don't think we can ask that question. We can, but I don't think we can. I think the teachings are available, accessible, and necessary. The mind has gender. The soul has gender. Our body is a garment, and our souls are garmented in a certain way. The Hasidim sitting around the table, yeah, they were all men. That's true. That's history. But right now, the Hasidim sitting around the table are not only men. I don't see any way to live. And I don't think that I'm living a b'diavad life or an afterthought life. I think I'm living a lechatchila life. I'm living from the outset life. And if the Ba'al Shem Tov believed what he was teaching, and I believe he did and does, then when he looks down at me, he smiles. And he laughs. And he says, thank God for history. Because history enables Reb Mimi to be my Talmidah. Enables Reb Mimi to be my student.